Luke chapter 6. But it came to be on the Sabbath that he went through the sown fields. And his learning ones plucked off the ears of grain and ate, and grasping them with their hands. But some of the Pharisees said, Why do you do which is not allowed to do in the Sabbath terms? And answering, Jesus said to them, But have you not read this, what David did, when he hungered, and those with him? How he came into the dwelling site of God, and ate the bread of the setting forth, and gave also to those with him, which are not allowed to eat, except to the priests alone? And he said to them, The Son of the human is Lord of the Sabbath. But it came to be on an ulterior Sabbath, he came into the synagogue to teach. And there was a human, and his right hand was dried up. But the scribes and the Pharisees scrutinized him if he would cure on the Sabbath, so that they might find something to accuse him. But he had perceived their thorough overconsiderations. But he said to the man, the one having the dried up hand, Raise yourself up and stand into the middle. And having risen, he stood. But Jesus said to them, I ask on you, whether it is allowed on the Sabbath to do good or to do badness, to save a soul or wholly loosen it away. And looking round about at them all, he said to the human, Outstretch your hand. And that one outstretched it, and his hand, relieved him from the downstand. But they were filled with unthinking, and spoke thoroughly to one another, what as it were they may do to Jesus. But it became to be in these days that he came out into the mountain to pray. And he was there as one watching throughout the night on account of prayer before God. And when it had become day, he lifted up the voice to his learning ones, and outchoosing 12 from them, whom he also named apostles. Simon, whom he also named Peter, and Andrew his brother, and James and John, and Philip, and Matthew, and Thomas, and James, the son of Alphaeus, and Simon, the one being called Zealot, and Judas, the brother of James, and Judas the Iscariot, who became a betrayer. And having dissented with them, he stood on an even-footed place, and a many numerous throng of his learning ones, and a many numerous fullness from all of Judea and Jerusalem and Perea, and of the territory beside the salt sea, and of the territory of Tyre and Sidon, had come to hear from beside him, and to be healed from their sicknesses. And those being innerly molested from unclean spirits were cured. And all the throng, they sought to touch him, since ability powers came out from beside him, and he healed them all. And lifting up his eyes towards his learning ones, and said, Blissful are you, the poor, since yours is the regency of God. Blissful are those now hungering, since they will be satiated. Blissful are you, those now sobbing, since you will laugh. Blissful are you when, as it were, human hate you, and when, as it were, they segregate you and revile you, and cast out your name as evil out for the Son of the human's sake in. Be made joyful in that day, and perceive, for your reward in heaven is much. For according to all this did their fathers to the prophets. Whereas woe to you the rich, since you have your beside call. Woe to you who are now those having been filled up, since you will hunger. Woe to you who are now the laughing ones, since you will mourn and sob. Woe when, as it were, all humans say ideally in regards to you, for this cause, according to this, did their fathers to the false prophets. But to you, the hearing, I say, love your enemies, do ideally to the ones hating you. Bless those cursing you. Pray concerning those striving on with you. The one striking you on the right cheek, let him also beside have the other one, and the one lifting from you the raiment, you should also not prevent the tunic. To everyone requesting from you, give, and from him lifting your things, require from them not back. And according as you want that the human do to you, also you do to them likewise. And if you love those loving you, what kind of presentation of grace is it for you? For also failures love those loving them. For also if you do good to those doing good to you, what kind of presentation of grace is it for you? For also failures do the same. And so if you lend to those from beside whom you expect to take something, what kind of presentation of grace is it for you? Also, failers lend to failers so that they may take away that being equivalent. Whereas love your enemies and do good and lend, not expecting one reward, and your reward will be much in the heavens. And you will be sons of the Most High, since He, yea, He is mild to the graceless and evil ones. Become sympathetic ones, according so as your Father is sympathetic. And judge not, and not, yea, not will you be judged, and do not down deprive of right, and not, yea, not will you be down deprived of right. Unloosen, and you will be unloosened. Give, and it will be given to you in ideal measure, one having been squeezed, having been shaken together, being poured out overabundantly, will be given into your body bay. For with the measure with which you measure will be instead measured to you. But he also said to them a parable. Yet not even a blind one is able to lead a blind one on the way. Will not both fall into the pit? Not is a learning one over above the teacher, but as one having been accordingly fitted, he be as his teacher. But what do you look at the mote in the eye of your brother, but you do not downthink regarding the beam in your own eye? But how are you able to say to your brother, Brother, let me, I should drive out the mote in your eye, and you yourself are not looking at the beam in your eye? You hypocrite, first drive out the beam out of your eye, and then you will look through to drive out the mote in the eye of your brother. For not is there an ideal tree making rotten fruit, but again, there is also not a rotten tree making ideal fruit. For each tree is known out by its own fruit. For not out of thorns does one choose to gather figs, but also one does not pick berries out of a thorn bush. The good human brings forth out of the good store of the heart the good, and the evil one brings forth out of the evil store the evil. For out of the abundancy of the heart his mouth speaks. But why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not what I say? Everyone coming to me, and hearing me, yea, my words, and doing them, I will show you to whom he is like. He is like a human, one dwell building a house, who shoveled and deepened and set the foundation on the rock. But the flood tide having become, and the streams came rending against that house, and yet it was not strong enough to shake it, because it had been ideally dwell built. But the one hearing and not doing is like a human dwell building his house on the earthland without a set foundation. Again, which the streams came rending, and straightway it together fell, and the rendage of that house became great.